What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Alpha Serum podcast, where I cover all things bodybuilding, BMWs, and business. So, today is an introductory episode to what this podcast is about, what sort of interests me, what I'm going to explore, and how I can help you guys kind of learn a bit more about me and what I'm interested in and how I can help you expand your knowledge in those three aspects. So, I just did a little poll on Instagram, and I want to thank you guys who did reply back and help me figure out a few topics for today. So, we'll run through these. We'll start from some more of the bodybuilding questions because that's the realm I have a bit more knowledge in. And yeah, we'll jump into it. So, what are the plans for the next few weeks of prep? Dylan asks. Basically, I'm at a really nice spot at the moment. I started out the gate super lean. So, 4 kilos off in 4 weeks. I was going to be far too ahead. So, total of a 20-week prep because it was my first one and I plan to come on stage peeled, peeled, bro. I was like, yes, I'm going to start out super strong. I can pull back if I need, which I did need to. So 16 weeks out, I let my weight trend up again. Or sorry, it was a little bit after that. So from 13 weeks out, I let it trend up. So I started prep at 80, went down to 76, and let it reset back up to 80. And possibly I did blow up to like 82 when I got sick, which you can still hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm still a bit phlegmy. Went back up to 82. I'm now sitting nice and pretty at 79 this morning. The weight's been bouncing between 78 and 80, but consistently have been under 80, sitting at about 79 as of the last, what are we, the 10th? As of the last week. So on good pace. I do get to adjust my sup stack soon. Drops in from week 5 weeks out. So that'll be nice. That's of next Saturday. And then probably need to drop about a kilo a week from next week to really lock in. So I will have been a kilo down for this week, which is really nice. I mean, you could say 3 kilos, but that was a lot of water weight manipulation and inflammation from getting sick. So plan for the next few weeks. Also, pump out the content. I'm working with a guy local to Coffs. Shout out Bassam if you're watching. We're going to be working together once a week, roughly, recording the sessions for you guys, so you can get a bit more behind the scenes sort of day in the life vlog style videos happening. So thanks for that question. Then on to the next. We've got from Reese. It was, this pairs well between the two. Have you seen John Jewett's new Dodge Viper? Dude, I'm pretty sure it's the ACR. Don't quote me on that. Could be so wrong. It is sick, as I replied to one of his stories where he had a photo of his iMac and the Dodge Viper in the exact same color was his background. So if you know what you're after and you're chasing it, it's bound to happen. So P1 next year. I've got that as my background. It's super. It's peak dream car. Segues into this next question. Which BMW is my favorite and why? What is my dream car? For some reason, it is the McLaren P1. I dare say this is probably going back 6 months ago. There was a 570S parked out the front of Zarafa's, where I manage at the moment, and it's a purple one. I've got a photo of it. I even edited the photo. I was like, oh yeah, this is so clean. So that would be my dream car. Which BMW is my favorite and why? Kind of depends. If we're going like a daily on a bit more of a budget, I do like the E36s. I think if you do one really nice, like James from Speed on YouTube, his BMW, I'm not sure if it's an E36, but it's super clean. I love that sort of um, older style car done right. And then as well as if we had a bit more of a budget, we'd go for a BMW M2 Comp. Yeah, I do like the blue ones. I don't know names of the colors. I'm hopeless. I'm kind of expanding my car knowledge a little bit. Yeah. Then into this next question, it segues super well. I'm just doing these kind of picking and choosing, but it goes great. Dream car collection. So we'll just punch out a few here. So if I can build up to a car that I can learn to drive in, we'll go GR86. It'll be the daily. It's nice. You can do them well. I prefer the body shape on those over the Supras, the newer ones, but we'll go that as the reliable daily. Then first supercar, I want it to be a McLaren. That's just symbolic for me. So we'll go a 570S. It's up there, but before 26, we'll pick it. Then track car, we'd go the GT3 RS. It's probably overhyped at the moment, and you can definitely pick a better track car. Obviously, I do like the Porsche 997s. I recently saw a guy do a build on one that he recently had a 997 that got into a car accident, was written off, and he purchased his dream one, and he's starting to modify it, so super clean. He also has a Cayenne that is his daily that he modified for four-wheel driving. Looks pretty clean. It's like an olive Cayenne. So they're the three cars, and then I need something JDM in there. I do like a Miata, an MX-5 if you're Australian and not educated. A Miata is clean, super clean. It's got to be done right. I do like the NA Miatas. The NBs are not bad, and the NCs are clean, and some of the newer ones are nice as well. That is a potential daily option. There is a bit more of a daily use case for the GR86. So if I had to do some towing, I do like a Hilux. The GRs, they do look clean, but um, a mate of mine and also my boss at Nutrition Culture, Sid, has a Raptor. Dude, it's nice. So I've seen other couple getting around. I don't like the size of the Rams. They are nice, but maneuvering one of those around, it would be quite annoying. If we had to go SUV as well, you could just say Urus, but I'd look towards probably an RSQ8, relatively the same car, just to not have another Lamborghini sort of vehicle in the repertoire. What else we got? I would go if we go on peak. I'm a baller. I don't have to worry about anything. We'll go LaFerrari. Ferrari LaFerrari. It's peak. What else can you ask for? Then there are some. I do enjoy the sort of looking at Aston Martins. It's really clean. It's a clean aesthetic. But I do those 5 or 6 cars would be humble enough to be a nice 6 car garage. So moving on from cars, we'll cover a bit of the bodybuilding side. So when are you getting CBum on with you? Josh, thanks for the question. I think I need to have a bit more competitive prowess. You never know. I'm not going to say anything that will define a timeline. I'd say as soon as possible. He's obviously someone in the industry who is a paramount example of what it means to be a bodybuilder, what it means to be, I should say, a great bodybuilder, what it means to be a great father, what it means to be a great businessman. And he covers all aspects of life in terms of bodybuilding. So, family, you got obviously competitive life, and then dealing with that afterwards, how to process that. And he is also a great role model for the more emotional side of bodybuilding and every aspect of that, and how to acknowledge and accept your emotions and in turn enjoy the highs as well as feel the lows, because that is extremely necessary. And blunting numbing the lows will numb the highs. The quote is so terribly off, but that is something I'm trying to integrate. And I would love to pick apart Chris's journey. His obviously jumped on a Chris Williamson's podcast, and a number of other interviews, and there's obviously a realm of exclusivity, so never say never, but it would be a time, a certain length of time that's not short. So we're going to jump on to the next question from Brody. Shout out Brody, fellow competitor in the ICN. I'm doing IFBB, but it's going to be awesome to see what package he brings. What challenges do you face as a bodybuilder, and how do you overcome them? So I'm going to keep this more dialed in on the niche of bodybuilding, and something that I recently had to realize in order to be the best bodybuilder I can. And it's that I was too focused on such a short time horizon that I was being super negative on if I didn't achieve a certain thing in the short-term interim, versus it's also a mindset shift in that case. Looking at a longer time horizon and accepting that there will be days where I don't necessarily meet the requirements that I set for myself. However, as long as in the longer term time horizon, the trajectory, I am stepping in the right direction and ticking all the necessary boxes that I need to take to be the best bodybuilder that I can. So in that sense, what does the best version of me as a bodybuilder do today to set myself up for success in 6 weeks' time when I step on stage, that sets myself up for success eight weeks post-show when I'm processing, getting my body to a healthy state, then into an off-season? What am I doing today that's going to set me up for a productive off-season? So managing my relationship with food is key. So no binging and restricting, no form of negative ties to food, limiting food focus, not researching which restaurants I'm going to be eating at post-show. Obviously, as I get closer to the situation, once I am like a day out or 2 days out, I'm just going to suss out a few nice restaurants on the Gold Coast. This is even if I came in lean enough for that show. So, having, in that case as well, having conditions in place. It's if I'm this, then that. If I'm this, then that. If I'm lean enough, yes, I can enjoy that meal at a nice restaurant. I can have a steak and veggies or something that suits my goals in the next week, because that will be the most important to bring a good package to the Melbourne show the week after the Gold Coast. So understanding that, yes, I need to do tasks today that will set me up for success, but look at the next year. Look at the next 3 years, look at the next 5. How can I be the best bodybuilder on that time horizon? Looking at the macro, stepping into the micro with that mentality shift, that adjustment, and then executing on what would make me the best bodybuilder in those longer time horizons. So, thank you for that question, Brady. That was really awesome. Then, help train legs, please. Cody, I can help you with that. So, for me personally, it is obviously a huge mental load doing a full leg day. Say you got 15 sets total, that would be a pretty decent leg day, So understanding that this is in the niche of bodybuilding, but Cody isn't a bodybuilder, he's an athlete. So you want to have obviously the most productive leg sessions you can. I recommend splitting it into 2 days. That's what I've done. This is just from a frequency perspective as a bodybuilder. You're going to be getting more effective sets more often. You're going to be more recovered, more fresh for those initial sets of each session. You can structure it as one as a quad and one as a glutes and hamstrings focus day. Now, on my quad days, I pre-exhaust with a leg extension, move into squats. And then there's a couple other exercises that I delve into there. And for my glutes and hams, I pre-exhaust / warm up with lying leg curls into a hip hinge. I stick to a stiff-legged deadlift / RDL. Now, same again, structuring accessories around that. What this is going to do for you, right? You're going to come in fresh to each session. You're going to, for me personally, I just do it from an injury prevention perspective. I don't have to load as much weight on the bar, and my legs already have blood through the muscle, they're warm. That is what pre-exhausting with the isolation exercise before does for me. Some people personally don't like to do that. They'll just take a bit longer warming up, or they should, on their compound lifts. So there's that principle of the initial sets are going to be the most stimulating. So I usually keep a lot of my exercises to 2 working sets. That's just something that I enjoy. So an overarching thing with bodybuilding, right, is there's a few classes of training philosophies, and they should be treated as such. A philosophy is something that you live by, that is an outlook on a subject that helps you understand and execute on certain things related to that philosophy. So a training philosophy, in the sense, helps you understand and improve in bodybuilding. So in that case, I enjoy and gain benefit from keeping it to 2 working sets per exercise. Some exercises, yes, I'll go up to 3 or 4, especially if I'm connecting with it well on that day. So I hit the 2 working sets of leg extensions. Typically, my initial exercise, I'm doing 2 to 3 feeder sets to warm up my joints. Same with my compounds, no matter whether I'm pre-exhausting or not. So 2 to 3 feeders, 2 working sets on leg extension. Same thing with my squats. 2 to 3 feeders. I just do it simply in plates per side. Works for me just because that's how I can progress through the weights to get to my working sets. So 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates, tapering down the reps as you go. Obviously, as the weight increases, you're not trying to get into a working set too early. So typically 1 plate, I start with nothing on the bar just to get my feet positioning, feel the movement. I'll do like 6 reps. 1 plate, do 10 plus reps. 2 plates, 6 reps, 3 plates, 2 reps, and then I chuck on 3.5, and I'm in a working set, 6 to 10. Now, that's a whole other thing that you can get into is periodization, reps, how you should track your progress, so progressive overload, and RIR, all that. I'm not going to delve into that today. If you want to see a particular podcast on that, let me know, and I'll get some feedback from you guys on that. But in coming back to the training philosophies, is that you should, number one, enjoy the gym. That's the reason why you got into it in the first place. Kind of. I came from a place of insecurity because I was a feeble young man. I was just a boy, a wee lad. I didn't weigh that much. And I got a job in construction and painting. I needed to get a bit stronger because a lot of the boys gave me shit at work. I'm sure a lot of you are going through the same, or you did it to get chicks or increase that validation side. But also, you train with the boys. You're having a fun time. There's that aspect that some people do forget, especially if they're chasing the bodybuilding for not the right reasons. You know, if you're looking for a career in bodybuilding, you got to love the gym. And not only that, you got to love every other aspect of bodybuilding with it. So you got to love the part where you're fucking starving. You know, you have no energy. You still got to hit the gym, give it your all. That is the fun part, yes. And then you still have to enjoy every other aspect of bodybuilding, and that is looking after your health. Getting 8 hours of sleep, having a good routine, making sure that your stress is low, that is enjoyable. No one wants to be stressed. But optimizing your life for that particular goal of stepping on stage with the best package that you can. Now, a lot of guys would benefit from implementing some of the strategies that bodybuilders use, especially, I've been skinny and I've been fat, everywhere in between. The systems that I set up to help me achieve my fitness transformation, if you want to call it that, they're applicable to everyone. Because when you have the system in place, you're less tempted to deviate from the path that you want to take. So this is a little plug, #ad. If you are struggling with training plans, meal plans, how do I get motivated to go to the gym? How do I stay consistent and disciplined? I do offer a coaching service. So you can find the link in my Instagram bio to book a call. The call is free. I'm happy to jump on, help you out. If you want to move towards coaching, that's great. I do offer doing up custom meal plans and training plans if that's something you need help with. However, I want to give out as much information as I can possibly do for you guys for free. I want to be that guy that I wish I had when I was 14, 15, 16. I remember my parents had a setup in the rumpus room. That's what we called it. In the rumpus room. So there was it was a cable pulley hybrid setup with a squat rack in it, and I remember I was allowed to use it. The little bro wasn't. It was a great time. So that when I was 14 without a job kind of inspired me. Also, shout out to Tim, my older brother. He was a gym fiend. So seeing that really pushed me to want to improve my physique and start looking and feeling good. So thank you, Tim and mum and dad, for giving me the opportunity to do that, as well as the OG gym, Marquee Fitness. I was there for 4 years, and even when I cancelled the membership because I was spending too much money on them video games, Fortnite, those were the days, bro. So shout out Marky Fitness when I would cancel and rejoin anyway. And also, I want to give another shout out to World Gym Coughs, the new the new ownership. I'm really impressed with the fact that before they even took over the gym, before the gym was handed over to them, and they started officially managing and owning the gym, they fixed the machines that were broken for months. It's not that hard. I feel like anyway, that's a whole other thing to get into. They're going to be dropping in a posing room eventually. They fixed the saunas. It's all looking up. Super exciting stuff in the pipeline for World Gym. Maybe some news there in the future. Hopefully, I can secure a good relationship with those guys and further my bodybuilding ventures. So, one last thing to cover the business aspect. We've got any secret businesses you're working on. Shout out Lil Bro again for farming the responses for me. Not necessarily secret. I am coaching. Yes, I am coaching. Big ad. I'd love to take on a few more guys. There's a few fellas that I'm really impressed with. The fact that they realized they want to improve themselves is huge. I want to shout out my client Alex. It's nice that we share the name. He contacted me probably, I want to say April. I want to say April or May. It was right as I was starting my prep. And he said, yo, bro, I want to get coached by you. I hadn't set up any of my coaching business yet. No back end. Hadn't even advertised it. I said I want to in the future once I've prepped myself, so that would be September. So we're talking April/May to September. That's 5 months. And he said, I'll wait. I even tried to put him on with Sid, and I said, look, my mate, he does a phenomenal job coaching. He just prepped a guy for season A of, I think it was season 8. So Angus, another mate that trains in Coughs, and he's an aspiration as well. So I said, yeah, he does really well. He knows what he's talking about. He said, no, I'm gonna wait for you, bro. I was like, you sure? I was like, yeah. So that he kicked my ass into gear because I was not gonna have him waiting that long. So between working 2 jobs, prepping myself, and then kicking up the coaching, there's no other secret businesses that I'm working on. There's so much shiny object syndrome, and I feel like the success that I have potential for, it's going to be dialing in on being the best athlete I can, and then being the best coach I can, and passing on all the lessons that I've learned through years of researching myself. So I am also studying as a J3U coach. Well, the level 1 of J3 University. Super in-depth. It covers all aspects of bodybuilding. I don't think there's a more succinct and well thought out, thorough education program for bodybuilding. So check out John Jewett 3 on Instagram. He's the head coach / owner of J3U, and they've just got a really good ecosystem. It's a learn at your own pace environment. So at the moment, my education is on the back end. I'm trying to focus on the 2 jobs that I'm working, as well as prepping myself. So I'm coaching myself to this show, which is something I should mention. Coaching myself, you do give yourself a lot of freedom. In that sense, you have to have systems in place to make sure that you're delivering on what you should be and take the emotion out of it. So I'm lucky to have a few guys that have competed. They're helping me check in on staying dialed in, how close to show I am, if I'm on time, if I need to pull back, if I need to lock in and dig. There's a really good community here in Coffs, and that I'm super grateful for. So I'm just going to double check. That answers all the questions. So again, thank you to the guys who got back to me on the stories. I do appreciate it. If you do have any questions, always send them to me. I'm just going to add it to this document I got and stack them up throughout the week. I will be asking you guys again on a Saturday, maybe a little bit earlier on Friday, to let the results pull up. And we'll have a bit more of a thematic, and I want you guys to think of some subjects I am going to get a guest on. We've got it in the pipeline. We'll see. Keep it planned. Alrighty, guys. That has been Alex for the Alpha Serum podcast. All things bodybuilding, BMWs, and business. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.